I'm not. Here we go. All right, good enough.
Cool.
None of it recorded?
We're about to start right now. That was a good opening. That we didn't get like 40 minutes into
That was great practice.
That was a good rehearsal. All right, here we go. What's going on, everybody? Today, we're going to be talking about the housing market update. The recovery stalls as mortgage rates jump. What really is a first-time home buyer? We're going to be getting into the real estate hot or not, jumping into the comment section, and today, we got a special guest. We got Michael Rivero from Top Shot Pro. Welcome to the Real Estate Wire, folks. What's going on, everybody? My name is Dan, the Realtor.
Mortgage Coach Marcus leading you to victory.
Yes, sir. Today, we got a special guest. We got Michael Rivero from Top Shot Pro. What's going on, brother?
Not much, man. I'm just glad to be here with you guys.
Yeah, man. We've been linking, Instagramming, and stuff for a minute, man. So I'm glad you actually got the time to jump through and jump on the pod, man. Tell us a little bit about yourself and your company, man.
Absolutely. So my name is Michael Rivero, originally from Bolivia. I was born there, moved here to the U.S. when I was 14 years old. My mom moved here pre 9/11, which was crazy. She was working at the time in Bolivia in government campaigns for like getting presidents elected and things as such. And then there were no jobs, and she said, "We got to move to the U.S. or else." I don't know what the "or else" meant just yet. That's a conversation that's pending to happen, right?
Mm-hmm.
But she moved here first, and then I followed 3-4 years, maybe 5 years later, when I was 13 years old, turning 14 years old. So I've been here since. And then 3.5 years ago, or 4.5 years ago, 3.5 years. So it was at the end of 2018, I made a video in New York City where I had a billboard. Because I used to do photography, like branded photography and things as such. I'm a huge sneakerhead, so I got a good understanding of marketing and branding through photography and things as such. And I used to get brand deals from like Complex and all of this stuff, which was cool. But in 2018, I made a decision to just quit my job because it was just sucking the soul out of me. And crazy enough, what I did was I got a billboard in New York City, my name, my Top Shot DC. And then I made a video saying I freaking quit, right?
We can beep it out.
Yeah.
Thank you. I quit.
You better beep it out.
Please do.
We'll beep it out.
You always say, "I'll beep it."
Yeah,
Beep it.
so it's like I made a video that said I quit, and the rest is history. But like, what's funny about that? Like, after I had made that video and I sent it to my boss, which was at a digital marketing agency, I called my mom and I was like, "Hey, mom, just FYI, I put in my 2 weeks notice. I quit. I'm going to start my own business." And she was crying on the other end of the phone, which I was just like, "Aw," she's like
So happy.
excited. She's proud. Like, my son is going after his dreams. Nah, like she was ready to tell me flat out. She was like, "Me and your stepdad are about to file for divorce." And she's like, "I don't know how we're going to keep the house." So I was like, damn, like, I can say that. So I was like, damn. And I didn't know, like, what was going to happen because I knew I was going to start a marketing and, like, a branding company. But in that moment, I was just like, oh, okay. I stopped thinking immediately about myself. I get on my phone and I was like, how to keep a house, how to refinance a house. And then guess who came up? The Zillows, the Realtors of the world, Realtor.coms of the world, and Redfin and all of these people, right? And I was just like, behind these conglomerate companies, there's somebody and there's a person that I got to speak to.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a realtor, a lender, even a title company, so we could do like the transfer of things. And it became very apparent for me that that was the niche that I needed to go in because it wasn't even about me. It was a matter of providing value to somebody that could potentially help my mom, and so we could keep the house that I grew up in. And we've been very fortunate to work within the industry since. You know, we got into it essentially because of that. My business partner, Josh, he grew up within the industry, so it just made absolute sense for both of us. And 3.5 years later, now going into almost 4, we've been able to service a lot of agents. We have about like 50 plus real estate professionals that work with us on a consistent basis. We've probably done trainings for well over 2,600 plus people now. And as of last month, we are now in 8 states. So it's just been a wild ride, man.
Nice.
We're super blessed to like get the chance to work with you guys.
Yeah. Yeah, man. I love watching your content, man. It's very creative and at the leading edge, right on trend. And obviously, we'll talk a little bit more about social media and stuff a couple minutes later. But it moves like switches so fast, man. Like you never know what's changing, what's not changing. So, speaking of which, let's get into the top real estate headlines.
For sure.
Um, actually, I'm gonna let you go first this time, Marcus. Yeah, you know what I'm
You be
saying.
the gentleman
I'm
today.
trying to be a gentleman, you know. Let's talk about what really is a first time home buyer, Marcus.
Whew. Technically, the definition of a first-time buyer is someone who has not had any ownership in a property as their primary residence in the last 3 years. So you could have owned a property in 2011, and you could have kept it for 5 years, and then sold it in 2016, and then you've been renting since 2016. And if you've been renting for 2016, although you purchased a home before, now you've been renting for let's say 7 years. You want to buy this year, you can be categorized as a first-time buyer. Now, what is the benefit of a first-time buyer? Well, there's programs, and one of the reasons why I wanted to get into the first-time buyer piece is because some people come to me and say, oh, I'm a first-time buyer, so there's some benefits there, or there's programs for first-time buyers.
Right, like first time home buyer programs,
Right.
down payment assistance,
Yeah.
closing cost assistance,
Right. And
grants.
all of that applies to those who have not owned a property as their primary residence in the last 3 years, right? But there's not one specific, and the thing I want to make clear is there's not one specific first-time buyer program. Right? And some people come to me thinking that, oh, I've never owned a home. There's one program for me. No, you can be a first-time buyer, and if you're buying a property in the country like where I live, you can get a USDA loan, which doesn't require a down payment, and then you can add some grant money onto that to help you for your closing costs.
So even if you already owned a house
Before.
how is that first time home buyer?
Because
You're really a second time home buyer.
you
But
are,
it's like that 3 year gap.
3 year, that 3 year,
That
3 year
makes
of
sense.
no ownership.
Right.
Now,
It's a good hack though.
it is. So again, if you were buying in the country and you wanted to buy, do a USDA loan, buy a property, no down payment required, then one of the first time buyer components is that, hey, I can get some grant money. That grant money from the state or whoever can be used for your closing costs. Same thing if you're a veteran. There's no down payment required, and then you're a first time buyer. You don't have any down payment, but you need money for the closing costs. Grant money can come in and help, that. And then conventional loans require typically 5% down payment if you are a repeat buyer. First time buyers require 3% down payment. But then you get that 3% down payment requirement, and you still can be eligible for grant money that comes. FHA loans have a 3.5% down payment requirement, whether you're a first time buyer or a repeat buyer, if you've owned in the last 3 years. But then you can still bring in that first time buyer component and say,
Right.
hey, here's some grant money there. So I want to make it clear that that it's not just one specific first time buyer program. There's a first time buyer component. There's a definition involved, and there's a first time buyer component that can be applied to any loan program that's out here. Now, I also want to say this. When you look into these first time buyer programs or eligibility factors, there's always an eligibility factor that you have to consider. So they say, well, how much money do you make? How many people are in the household?
Mm-hmm.
Those type of things are always sprinkled in somehow. So it's good to talk to me as a lender to go through all the questions. And if I'm not your lender and I'm in a state I'm not licensed in, God bless you, and I can help you still and refer you to somebody that is licensed out there. But at the same time, you want to be educated about the entire process. Last point. Let's say that you don't have a loan in your name, but mom has a property. Let's say for you were talking about your mom had a property, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mom had the property and the loan was in her name and she was on the deed of the property. But for whatever reason, she added you to the deed of the property when she purchased it. You have ownership in the property, right? So we consider it, but it's not your primary residence. So although some programs you're eligible for, some other programs you may not be eligible for because you have legal ownership in that property.
So I immediately become ineligible for certain programs.
For certain
if
programs.
my name is added to a deed.
Correct.
Interesting.
Correct. Because the legal part of it is really what the first time buyer programs and that definition is surrounded or is surrounded by.
So basically, if your name gets added to a deed, but your name, you weren't on a mortgage or anything like that,
right?
You could still qualify as a first time home buyer.
You can get qualified as a first time buyer because, like for the Virginia housing program, I've actually been trained and certified as a trainer for the Virginia Housing Development Authority program, which we all call VHDA. And one of their components, they always defer to agency guidelines, which is Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, VA, FHA, and all that, those guidelines. But it's very clear that if you have not owned a property as your primary residence in the last 3 years, you are eligible for their down payment assistance and their and or their closing costs help.
Yeah, that's interesting hack.
So you could have, in your situation, you could be on your mom's deed, but it's not your primary residence. You live somewhere else. You've been renting, but you want to buy a property in. We're talking about Manassas. You want to buy a property in Manassas as you and your fiance's primary residence. You are eligible for that down payment assistance, closing costs, help, grants, all that type of stuff.
I feel like that's something that first time I'm hearing it, honestly, and I've worked with a lot of lenders, so it's crazy to hear.
Yeah. Yeah, it's about, man, like
should get talked about.
I mean, it's like a very like small for lack of a better word, loophole in the first time home buyer world, right? Because most of the time it's like we think, well, this is the first time that I bought a house. And then there's also now, let me ask you this question, Coach. Does it matter the state? Like, say I'm a first time home buyer in Maryland, but then I move to DC, I'm a first time home buyer in DC. How does that work?
So again, if you have not been a first time buyer in that state, or if you have not owned a primary residence in this particular state, or yes, you can be eligible.
So if I own a house in Maryland, sell my house.
Don't even have to sell it.
If I have a house in Maryland, I move out, keep it as a rental property.
Let's just say Eastern Shore, Maryland, like so that's way out, right?
Oh, it got to be a certain distance.
Because you are also when we underwrite it, we look at it and say, well, how far is this property? Yeah. Right. So let's say you have a property.
They know my plan.
I don't mean to cut you off, but I'm gonna cut you off. So I do mean to cut you off. You own a property in Maryland.
Yes.
But now
I do own property.
But now you want, and it's in Eastern Shore, and that was once your primary residence. Mm-hmm. Well, maybe it wasn't. Let's say it wasn't. But then you want to buy a property out my way because you're moving your business out that way, primary residence out in Fauquier. You are a first-time buyer. You have not owned a property in the state of Virginia. As your primary residence.
State to state, getting first-time home buyer credits.
You could, but you gotta live.
But they also all gotta be conventional, right? They can't be FHA. I can't get a bunch of FHA loans. That's the loop. The loop. Because I can only own one FHA property at a time.
Not true.
Not true.
Not true.
Really.
I
thought I could only hold one FHA loan at a time.
Not true.
FHA. I'm a bet you on this one. I'm going in. I'm taking a risk. So what's the stakes on this one? In front of Michael.
Hey, you up on 20 years and failures and me looking at just like Cheryl Brown. We're gonna bet.
Real estate buyer squad. I'm betting. I'm a man of my word. I'm a bet. So what's the stakes on this one? Let's outline the terms. I think that from my understanding, my little brief 10 years of real estate, you can only hold one FHA loan at a time.
Okay.
Period. And you're saying that that's not true. You're saying that you can hold multiple FHA loans at a time.
I'm going to give you a short answer. Yes.
Okay. Let's shake on that real quick. The terms. Real Estate Wire Squad, you see that?
I witnessed it.
Witness. Witness. All right. Terms.
I can't wait to win.
Oh, man, I'm nervous. I don't like losing. But the winner is going to... All right. So we already did the Beardly Superior because I'm already your Beardly Superior. Everybody knows that already. My beard is immaculate and fluffy and soft and shiny. We all know that. But what's the other stake? What's the stake?
And it's glued on, but
It's not glue. It's a skin adhesive. It's not glue.
Right. What are the stakes?
What's the state?
You might
Trying to make sure.
Yeah,
You
see,
might
this
have
I tightened it up this morning.
have to do some push-ups on camera.
You gotta do it.
You want me to do some push-up? So the winner gonna do. The loser does
The loser does
10 push-ups.
push-ups next week.
Make it hard. We'll call it 25 push-ups.
All right. Can you
We
do
can
20?
do
Can
more
you do
than
25
25.
push-ups?
You do 25.
I can do 25.
Shake on it. Witness.
Boom. We're gonna see episode 14.
I'm about to Google this right now.
You can Google all you
I'm
want.
nervous.
I got guidelines. You can't.
I'm nervous. Oh my God. Hey, Real Estate Wire Squad. Don't ever let it be said that your man don't put his money where his mouth is or his push-ups where his mouth is.
Yeah.
Let's get to the second headline,
Let's
shall
roll.
we?
Let's roll.
So, according to Redfin News, here we go again. The housing market update. Looks like the recovery stalls as the mortgage rates jump again. And it goes back to what we were talking about earlier, which is never be too happy or too sad about anything. The article says some home buyers are retreating back to the sidelines as mortgage rates continue to ascend towards 7%.
Don't do it.
Redfin Home Buyer Demand Index is a measure of the requested tours and other services from Redfin agents fell by 1% from a week ago from this time last week. And it's the first decline after a month of increases and mortgage purchase applications dropped by 6%. So what's that telling us? It's telling us that you have an opportunity if you're looking to buy. I guarantee you this spring we're getting ready to hit a surge. And I know that because I'm seeing the listings pile up. So we're getting more and more houses coming to the market, and we're getting less and less showing requests. We got a couple, I think last month we had a surge in the mortgage rate, the mortgage applications.
Yeah.
Right? We had an increase in the
27.
applications, a drop in the interest rates. More listings started hitting the market. And I think once, because inflation still is the key, like we've been talking about. If you want to know what's going on with the real estate market, you got to look at inflation, because inflation is going to be our bellwether as far as what the interest rates are going to do and what the Fed's going to do to try and combat the inflation. So, again, like we've been saying, man, and I'm sure if you're on a real estate wire squad, you already know, buying is a lifetime thing. It's not, we're not chasing the market and seeing when the interest rates and trying to time it. No, we're buying whole. We're long-term investors, long-term real estate investors on this podcast. So these interest rates changing, really don't affect us that much. What are you seeing, Coach?
Man, so the 30 I posted last night about the 30-year fixed conventional rates were like 6.75, like the overnight averages. And that doesn't mean that's exactly what you as a buyer might get. It's going to be somewhere in that range. But even on like an FHA loan, the FHA rates were like 6.1, 6.2. And it's like, but it's always a range, right? So it's a little bit above and a little bit beneath, but that's the average. And I still wholeheartedly believe, man, it's a great time, to buy. Yeah. And you cannot time this market. I mean, the stability of like everything in almost every country is so up and down, right? You look at weather patterns are up and down. I mean, it's going to be 60 or 70, almost 70 degrees again,
right.
February. So the weather patterns are up and down. You've got the, our federal government, when they talk, they say one thing one day, they say the next thing, something else the next day. You got other countries that, prime ministers that are resigning, you got all types of things that are such in, back and forth. There's a lot of things that are not stable. So these real estate markets, the inventory is still short.
But the instability, and tell me what you think about this, Michael, because you see listings on the front end, because you do a lot of property videos and marketing for real estate agents. What are you seeing as far as like inventory and some of the trends that you're noticing?
I would say the biggest takeaway for me is he who informs or she who informs their client the best wins, regardless of the market. Because to both of your points, it's going to go up, it's going to go down, it's going to stay stagnant, go up, go down. It doesn't really matter, right?
Roller coaster.
But like with the what really is a first time buyer, like that, to me, I'm like, boom, I know who I need to talk to, right? And with what you just said is we're not just home buyers, we're investors. I
Mhm.
think if agents, lenders were to teach this from like a financial security and a wealth building standpoint more to their clients, you would see like more trust in the market in and of itself. The problem is that quite honestly, what I see on my end is like 99% of people are like, I'm just trying to get to the closing table in the transaction, move on to chase the next lead. So it's like when you care about your client's well-being more than you care about your check, like
Dude,
regardless of the market,
well,
it's
that's-
gonna go good.
we were just talking about that, Marcus, because me and Marcus just closed a deal, and literally, you got him.
Almost,
So,
almost.
real estate wise, we got a mosquito in here, and the first person to kill the mosquito is going to get $3 from me in the form of a.
I need to pay my toll.
A person, yeah. Oh yeah, where do you live, bro?
You missed it.
I did miss it. Get that. Got it, coach. When you can catch the fly from my hand, grasshopper, then your training will be
You need to get
complete.
chopsticks and be like Danielson.
Marcus son. Yo, but here's the thing. Let me ask you this question since we changed the topics. What do you think about these balloons that's floating around in the
Whoa,
in
that's
the,
that's a
I want
that's
to,
a
you know
chain.
why? I love Michael. I want to hear his thoughts on this because you got to listen to this dude. He got some very. What are your thoughts on that?
Do you want the conspiracy
I want
theorist
the conspiracy.
answer?
Give me the conspiracy.
Uh-oh.
I want to get us blocked.
I'm
And then the trains that are like crashing and collapsing. What do you
Derailing.
think about that? Derailing.
So I'm going to answer this in a way that once you start monetizing full-fledged on YouTube, it doesn't do it.
Yeah. Okay, because we don't want to get blocked. I mean, I don't
yeah.
mind getting blocked, but
There's Rumble now. But what I would say to that is it's just interesting how they were floating around for as long as they were floating around. I think it doesn't make us look good as a country.
like, how are they floating from Alaska all the way to like the southern banks of like North Carolina, South Carolina?
For as long as they did, and they were floating
For
around
like
like our neck of the woods, and I'm just like, I don't know, man.
Did y'all see it?
I didn't see it.
I didn't see it.
I have some friends and family that saw it like out in.
I heard it was like the
South Carolina.
size of like 3 school buses or something like that.
I wonder if they made it out of it. It had to have been like some
There's
sort of
special threads. So one of
Space material
our
or
new videographers, his name is Lucas. Shout out Lucas.
what up,
He
Lucas?
his girl works creating threads for like spaceships and
Like-
NASA
Oh,
with Blue Origin, like Jeff Bezos' stuff, right? And he says they make some threads that they can create balloons out of that like withstand like harsh winds and everything, and it almost feels like a t-shirt almost, right?
Mm.
So like for it to like have gone from you said Alaska to like wherever it went to, it's like I don't
Yeah.
know. And for it to have been as long as it did, it's like I
and
don't
the
know.
timing, like, okay, now all of a sudden we got all these trains derailing that are like,
Well, there's the trains, there's the
everything
balloons,
toxic
and now
fuels.
UFOs.
UFO.
Bro.
Now the UFOs. Okay, here's my thing about the UFO thing.
Dun 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 dun.
Thank you. I'm really, yeah. Here's my thing. All right. If I'm an advanced species, so advanced that I'm able to create technology that can travel. Now, let me put this in context. To get to our next closest solar system, it would take us 50,000 years, right? To get to Alpha Centauri, which is our next closest star, which is
Us.
yes, a human species. It would take us 50,000 years to get to that, right? Not including the entire galaxy, which is like billions of light years across, right? If I was an alien species that came from another galaxy or even another part in the galaxy, why would I just like use such a basic technology like balloons to just float them around the planet? Like,
Well, what you said.
wouldn't you have more advanced technology than just air balloons?
Yeah, what you said a few months ago, because you approached the subject before and you were talking about, or maybe we were talking offline, I can't remember, but you were saying like if they're so advanced, then we're not as advanced, right?
Mhm.
And why would you even? And you were talking about why would you even come back to a
Why would they
society
even care? Like, why would we
that's
go
But
to
less
the-
advanced? It's like going.
I think our technology is more advanced than the regular population understands. Number one, and if they were to release this advanced technology, the whole world would freak out, right?
Hmm.
But also, to the point of like these UFOs that there's been like 3 or 4 that have been shut down and they can't find anything on it, which is weird. My
Yeah.
problem with that is, apart from not being able to find anything and they got shot down, right, is if they weren't doing anything, it just showed us that the kind of humans that we are, because we just became uncivil and it shot it down.
Right, because we
So
didn't
it's
even
like,
understand
that says a lot more about us than it says about them.
We don't know what it is. We're just going to automatically shoot it down. Like, if I was an alien, I would be extremely offended by,
Yeah.
you shot down my balloon.
Guardians of the Galaxy tonight, but like,
It's funny, like listening to y'all talk, y'all could do this for hours, I'm sure.
Well, see, Michael is a conspiracy theorist. I'm a conspiracy theorist light. And I
like to
No,
stop
you're not
it.
like
must say he's varsity, you're junior varsity.
I'm not even. I'm literally.
Are you you're on a freshman
I'm
conspiracy
still
theory
on
team.
tryouts, man.
And I'm not into it. Like
Now you're coach.
When I sit,
You're a coach.
yeah, when I sit back and I'm listening to y'all, I'm like,
I love space though. You know, I like talking about space. Anything space and exoplanets and the end of the observable universe.
But what I'm curious about is, because I haven't done. I mean, I saw the pictures and I was like, oh, there was a balloon floating over this. I was like, oh, and I just let it pass, right? But I'm curious, like, it wasn't like floating and operating like a hot air balloon where you pull and you got gas in it, or how was it? How was it
Yeah, it
staying
had to be
afloat?
some type of remote. Like somebody had to be controlling the
But
bad
what was
boy.
it like? Was it propelled by like
It had a motor, I think.
It had a
drones or something like?
The pictures of it show like a slight cross motor that was like powered by like solar, right?
Oh,
To
so
me,
kind of like a
it's-
drone situation.
No, but again, like for as long as they went
He
to,
said-
and
he said,
if it's
no.
and if it's like sitting there for days at a time,
Yeah.
because they spotted it for days, and before it was like, oh yeah,
So now they're bringing up balloons which is like another distraction,
Oh, yeah.
right? And then every now they distract us again, from the inflation and da 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 da, because all of these things are distractions. Which I think the main point is, don't get distracted.
like
Stick
I would
with your
say
plan.
focus on you, focus on building
Right.
a bigger, better future you, and make the world a better place for those around you, right?
Mm-hmm.
But pay attention,
attention,
to
yeah.
all angles.
Yeah.
Because when you just listen to one side or the other side, one way or another, you're going to be looked at as you're too extreme left, too extreme
Yeah,
right.
you're not going to get the full picture.
And I think most people want to be in the middle because it's our natural habitat to just care and love for each other. It's just so much easier when someone tells us what to do.
Yeah.
Kind of like entrepreneurship, right? That's the reason why we have business coaches and things like that. Because like once you go in business on your own, no one tells you what to do.
Yeah.
So you might as well hire somebody that gives you a little bit of direction.
The funny thing about entrepreneurs, like I think most people got into entrepreneurship because they didn't want to be told what to do.
Yep.
And the funniest thing is, I have a couple coaching clients, and I tell them all the time, like, yo, you may think that you're getting in this business because you didn't want to be told what to do, but guess what? You got a higher level of accountability. Everybody gonna be telling you what to do.
Yep.
IRS gonna tell you what to do. The state government gonna tell you what to do. Your bank account gonna tell you what to do. Your clients are gonna tell you what to do.
Yeah.
Right? Because we're never gonna escape someone telling us what to do, or accountability.
Mhm.
And like you said, the key is paying attention to the political market, paying attention to the global economic market, and then looking at your own individual financial plan and the lifestyle that you're trying to build for yourself, and say, all right, I see that it's raining outside. I'm just going to get a really, really good umbrella.
It's got to be that way. I think you never fail when you prepare enough,
That's dope.
And
That's a quote of the day right there, brother.
thanks, bro. But too many people go on about their day wondering what's next. And in reality, when you plan ahead and you work backwards, it just gets easier. It's a little bit more directional. It's a little bit more, you're living life in your terms and you're under your rules and you're building it the way that you want to. To your point, you have all of these people that you just mentioned, from the IRS up and down, that can tell you what to do. But also when you're in business, your clients tell you what to do.
Yep.
If you have a team, your team tells you what to do. So from the get-go, when you make a decision like that, no one tells you what to do. The world does. and the world demands it off of you. And at that point, you make a decision of, am I up for these demands or am I not?
You know, in Kabbalah, we talk about they talk about being reactive versus being proactive, right?
Mm.
And being reactive is not where you want to be, right? As far as waiting until life forces you to change, as opposed to being proactive, which is forcing the change or being the change, and that keeps you ahead of the curve, right? If we're talking about going back to what we were talking about last episode, Marcus, being ready, being qualified means, yo, your credit is 100% in your control.
For sure.
I'll even say I'll give some for us in the cheap seats, 99% in our control, right? There might be one or two things that might happen, but for the most part, like you say, yo, if you're prepared, you don't got to worry about getting caught out there on some, oh, I didn't know, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's the most important key, irrespective of everything that happens in the news and in the headlines. Never get too excited, never get too down, right? Just, hey.
But I do want to say something to that. Oh, I didn't know as an excuse.
Ooh.
Because, oh, I didn't know, that's fine, but what are you doing now?
Yeah.
You know? Like, oh, I didn't know. Like, at one point, my credit was, like, low 500s, right? And then I'm like, okay, well, like, let's pay attention. Let's take a look. And what can I change? What can I not change? Immediately. Spending habits are a little bit differently. It's immediately taking a look at, okay, how am I really living? I'm spending the majority of my money off of my debit card for what? Let's just buy it all on credit and pay it back on time. You know? And it's like, at some point in time, oh, I didn't know, like, needs to stop, because if you don't take ownership of that, you don't take ownership of your life, you're letting other people dictate how the hell you're supposed, I can say, how the hell you're supposed to live. So it's like,
I'm the coach and the principal, I guess. We're sorry.
Principal Marcus.
Hey, but you know what? Let me speak to that. Shout out to you, Ma, because if you're watching. Because when something would happen in my life, when you were talking about that I don't know piece, when I was younger, you know, I do whatever. I'm the oldest of four, and I do something, and Mama would come up on me and be like, "You got to have a conversation, you know, before you get whooped, you know." But then we need to have a conversation, and my immediate answer would be like, "I don't know."
Yeah. Oh, I didn't know.
I don't know.
Oh, mine was I didn't do it. That was mine.
Oh,
it wasn't me.
Ooh.
Marcus maybe, like when we would get in trouble in school, remember how I used to get you in trouble?
Oh, yeah.
You would get me in trouble.
Yeah.
But I would blame you.
Yeah,
so when I get home, I'd be like, no, I was
and then my mom would be like, why you let Dan do such and such? Like knowing that it was you.
Right. I'm not Marcus's parents.
And then she'd be like, and she asked me the question. I'm like, I don't know. And I would say it in such a way to try to convince her that my statement of I don't know was going to be the thing that released me from the ownership responsibility, right? Yep. And it got to a point where that was my answer all the time. But I continued to do a certain thing. And then one day my mom was like, you say I don't know one more time. And I don't remember the rest of it because I probably got hit. But but it's like
I don't.
Yeah, right.
But the thing is, to bring it all the way to the front, is like there are a lot of people that I speak with, and there's no judgment in this statement, but there's a lot of people that I speak with that when I'm talking with them and I look at the credit, look at their profile, and maybe they're not ready to do a certain thing. If I've talked to them February of 2023, this is on a certain type of people. Talk to them in February 2023, and we say, this is what it is. And then I talk to them and let's say, give them a plan. Show them all what they need to do. 6 months later, it sometimes still looks the same.
5 years is a lifetime, dog. You could change your entire life trajectory. I'll put it this way. Hold
on, one thing. But it's still like when I come back and ask them what's going on, it's still somebody else's fault, or they don't know about all these things. I'm like, I gave you the plan to resolve it in February.
So I'm gonna tell you something right there. It's still your fault.
Whose fault? Me?
Yep.
You a lie.
Yeah, because you gave them the plan. what did you do to make sure that they follow through?
Oh, I didn't tell you that piece.
Oh, get to it.
Okay.
Because I'm like, no, that.
Every month.
Yeah, I love the accountability.
Every month we have a call.
Okay.
Every month I'm following up. I have some things I can change in my system that change the drop down to credit repair, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this automatic stuff, in addition to me reaching out, there's automatic information they get about like what makes up your credit report or how to best maintain things. Like they're getting things automatically that where I can talk to you about business later, but like automatic stuff and me monthly,
I mean,
checking in.
I kind of see both of you guys' points. I agree with you, Marcus. Like, you can lead a horse to water, you can't make him drink. And at the same time, it's like we as professionals, like how are we helping our clients be their best and like giving them the tools that they can use to like make it, I won't say easy, but simple, right?
Yeah,
Nothing's easy, but everything is relatively simple.
We should simplify the process because like that's why we're the seats that we're in to help other people. So like I even, the Calendly, the link to like I even in my write-ups, like I put the link, hey, once we go through this, click this link, let's get it. You set the appointment, right? Let's get it on the calendar in 3 months, 6 months, whatever. But again, I'm still following up, got the automatic stuff. And there's a good handful of people that never do it. Yeah. And I'm like, well, how come? What's going on? I still want to buy a house. Well, I don't know what's going on. I don't know.
In a situation like that, though, and this is a good concept of, this is something that my business partner taught me recently, and I think it was taught to him through one of our mentors, Dean Jackson, is if I come to your house right now, like we're sitting at your spot, Dan, and Dan's like, yo, Mike, there's the fridge. Go do whatever you want to do in the fridge. Like, my house is your house. Chances of me going through his fridge are slim to none. But if I pull up and he's like, yo, here's some fresh cookies, take one. I have no choice but to take one, otherwise I'm disrespectful, right? And then he's like, oh, by the way, here's a fresh glass of milk. And I'm like, okay, like I'm taking the cookie and I'm taking the milk, So in a situation like that, when we say, do this when you're ready, click the link when you're ready, we're saying go to the fridge when you feel like it. Versus, okay, I got you right here, right now. We're going to follow up in 3 months. We're going to follow up in 6 months. 3 months from today is May, right? So in May 13th, we're going to discuss what you've done since. And in the process, I'm going to send you X, Y, and Z. And if you don't do it, just understand that this is your decision and your responsibility. I'm just here to try to help you out because at the end of the day, you're going to benefit off of it, right? It's not about me.
Teaching today, boy.
Yeah.
So it's like a lot of that goes unseen with all of us, and it's something like, again, like those guys, like I get hit up on Instagram, like the fitness coaches, and it's like, oh yeah, do you have somebody to give you a meal plan? It's like, bro, Google, But like,
what do you do about the people that want to make you a cute logo on your Instagram?
Absolutely nothing, because
y'all get them?
Yeah, all the time. It's like, let me make you a new logo. And I'm sitting here on the brand development side of things. And I'm like, okay, do it. I'll spend the $10 because I'm always looking to hire new designers too. It's like, okay, show me something. And they're like, here's your brand name, Top Shot Pro. Here's your logo. You know nothing about me. You know nothing about my company. So how could you possibly give me something that resonates with me, my business, my brand, and who I'm trying to speak to, where I'm trying to get to, if you don't understand any of those things? So it's like,
that's amazing.
For what?
And you brought up a good subject. Dan Wheeler, I need some Snickerdoodle cookies. Dude talking about some cookies and milk.
Yo, you ever heard of the Google machine?
No, I heard of you going
Google
to
Iverson Mall.
No, you said
put it in the maps.
Look, hey, real estate squad, real estate wide squad. Dan Wheeler said, I said it before. He's like, oh yeah, I'm over there all the time. I'm over in PG all the time. Yeah, he's like, I give you some Snickerdoodle. I get you some Snickerdoodle. Ain't that what you said?
I may have said something like that.
You want to bet on it? Whether he did or didn't?
Let's get to the
25 more push-ups coming soon.
But one thing I do want to talk, speaking of switching topics, I want to talk to you, Michael, about social media trends, man, because
please do.
You're the social media guy, like the guru. Where do you see, I already gave you my conspiracy theory on TikTok and all that. Where do you see social media going? What do you think's hot? What's dope? What's going on as far as like social media world and trends and all that?
Right now is anyone who has a cell phone should be producing content. The simpler it is and the more mindless it is, the better for growth. Particularly, like you probably share some videos with your wife with your kids back and forth of like, yo, look at this is funny. That's the opportunity right there. So a year ago I would have said something completely different, but right now it's like spend 80% of your time doing things that are fun to you, i.e. like this podcast, and do 20% of it like on real estate specifically. Reason why is because people are interested in everything else that you find interesting, and then you can sprinkle in the real estate. So that's what we're looking at from a content marketing perspective, from a platform perspective. I mean, your aim should be to honestly be in every single platform possible, but find your lane in one platform and go all in with it until it catches enough fire, and then start doing the same on other platforms. The last thing really is, and this is something that December, it was like mid-December, I was in New York and I'm leaving. Like I got my bag on me. I went shopping. I was downtown Soho and I'm passing by Ryan Serhant's office. And I'm like, I'm just going to do a quick story for Instagram, right? And top of the window, Adrian, his creative director, knocks and he's like, wait there. He runs down and he's like, Michael, what's good? Like we've been friends for a little bit. And he's like, you want to come shoot some content with Ryan? So
Ryan who?
Ryan Serhant.
Who's that?
He's a $1 million listing guy.
Yeah, he's like probably like the most followed realtor on Instagram.
Yeah, he's done
all
like
other social
platforms. Like billions of dollars in real estate transactions.
It's nuts.
Yeah.
And I pull in there and we shot a video together, which was really cool.
You and Serhant?
Yeah. But then like what was crazy about it to me is I pull up all of our clients' accounts. Well, not all, but like a few. And he's like, yeah, it's not working. I'm like, what do you mean? Like, I built a business off of this, right? And he's like, all of your realtors and all of your lenders and all the people that you're showing me, they're doing too much. I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, if you take a look at what I did to begin with, apart from like his Bravo show, right? It's like, I started with my vlogs and I didn't do anything else content-wise until I had 100 of those. And the problem is that most agents, lenders, and people as such, they try to do, they want to be the listing guy, the listing walkthrough guy. They want to be the neighborhood guy. They want to be the podcast guy. They want to be the educational content, the restaurateur. And it's too much. And we're creatures of habit, right? So when you get people used to one format of content for you, don't switch that up. And that's where 99% of people go wrong, because everybody's trying to be everything to absolutely everybody. So now our entire strategy's changed completely, where we're sitting down with each individual client. It's like, all right, what are your hobbies? What did you do before real estate? What do you do now that's working for you in real estate? Oh, well, I like wine. Cool. Okay. I used to work in, I don't know, say Macy's. All right, perfect. And now I'm a real estate agent. Cool. Couple all of that in and build something that's specific to that person, specifically themed for that person, and it just works. And I'm sitting there as Serhant's telling me this, and I'm like, damn, I've messed up, right? And the reason why I say I've messed up is because we had a couple of clients where we did that with, and we saw the trajectory just going up, 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 up. And like one of them went from like 1,000 followers to like over 5,000 followers.
We're doing the same type of content
in a matter of like 90 days, right? And I'm like, okay, that was working. And the problem is that as agents, as lenders, as people, as human beings, when we receive any sort of feedback, we need to take it all with a grain of salt. Because just because somebody's telling you what doesn't work for them or what they don't think works for you, doesn't mean you need to shift it to please, right?
Man, it's hard in this content, the content space, man, because you get so many different gurus with so many different, like, you know, everybody got an opinion, like, and it's like, like what you're saying is valid, it's legit, right? And then you can talk to somebody else and they have completely different, where it's like, no, you need to be doing different pillars of content. You have 4 pillars of content. You need to have a talking head and a podcast, and you need to do property tours, and you need to do behind the scenes. You need to do reels, and you need to do trends and lip syncs and voice.
To that, I say pay attention to who you pay attention to. You know, because there are social media managers that say use the trendy audio that worked for them, but when they have a conversation with them, it's like, you don't sound like the audio. You get what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Why
Yeah.
you sound awful when you're not pointing at things. You
Mhm.
know, you have the ones that are like, you gotta do your 4 pillars of content and do this and do that, and you look at them and it's like, you don't do any of that.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, you're not telling people. Even like, bro, like I met Gary Vee and I love Gary Vee. I like, dude, Gary Vee made me cry. That's a video that's coming out.
Uh-huh.
But like, even with Gary Vee, he's like, you gotta shoot content, you gotta be everywhere, blah 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 blah. But what he's not telling the world is, I got about 26 people working behind my one video. So when
Mhm.
you're a realtor by yourself or a lender by yourself trying to figure this stuff out, and you're hearing all sides of things, it's like, who do you really listen to, right? For me, it's like, I'll tell you what's worked for me. I'll tell you what I see. Implement it if you like. If you don't, then I mean, continue trying to figure it out. You
Do
know.
you think TikTok is a scam?
No, I think it's an opportunity.
I think it's a scam, bro.
Why? Tell me why.
Let me put my conspiracy theory
Why is
hat
it a scam?
on.
Because in China they only have TikToks a certain way, and over here we do.
That's who. Yeah.
That's part B. Yeah, exactly. That's part B. Part A, and this is just, it's purely anecdotal, I know. But I'll say this. When I look through, okay, so I got quote unquote, here are my air quotes if you listen to the podcast. Here are my air quotes here. Quote unquote, I got 25,000 followers on TikTok or whatever, the TikTok it. But when I really like go through all those so quote unquote followers, a bunch of them are just like bot accounts, random accounts with like one person on there or no posts at all. And I think this is my theory. I think that when China created the TikTok app and they dropped it in the United States, irrespective of the spy software that's on there, I think what they wanted to do was they wanted to get everybody on the app, right? So they gave everybody a huge amount of viral videos. You know, you never know which one's going to go viral. Then they just give you 100,000 views, right? Just to get you hooked. They wanted to get everybody hooked on TikTok. And now they shifted the algorithm because they're not giving out. Now they know everybody's hooked now, right? Chemically, we're hooked with the dopamine rush. We're hooked, right? And we're hooked on that need to want to get that next lottery viral video.
Mm-hmm.
So if you ask me, and this you will agree with, YouTube subscribers are the most valuable subscribers.
Yeah.
Hands down, everybody knows that. Now, I haven't, and again, like I said, some people are blowing up on TikTok and they're getting business from it. I could be doing it wrong, but I'm a little bit more disillusioned at this point with TikTok as far as like how they run the app and the quality of the subscriber.
So here's the TikTok game. TikTok did get us used to, our attention span is down to 3 seconds, and we have about 1.7 seconds to catch someone's attention. It's nuts. But
That's
TikTok,
a blink.
yeah, TikTok literally, it's a dopamine hit, right? With TikTok, what they're doing now and where they've evolved to in the past year and a half is they're like now evolving into creating hyper local content, which is why you're going to see more like DMV related stuff on your feed. So it's an opportunity to the agents to start creating some of that hyper local, get known locally type of content. Subscribers, 1,000,000% more valuable than a TikTok follower. But our job on any of these platforms is to how quickly can we get these people off the platform and into our database, onto our newsletter, right? I would say personally, and this is again just, I'm one of many people's inputs, right? I value more than the YouTube subscriber, I value the Instagram follower. And the reason why is because I can connect with them on DMs.
Right.
I can retarget them with cheap ads on Facebook, Instagram. I can also do the same thing on, like if I move them from TikTok to Instagram, that's money. If I move them from YouTube to Instagram, that's money. I have a direct connection with them that I can go ahead and build a relationship with. So it's just knowing how to leverage the opportunity. I can tell you, if you have 25,000 followers on TikTok, how are you leveraging that on your listing presentations?
So on listing presentations, not so much. So I mean, I do like. I'm glad you asked me this question. So I do a social media kind of like section of my listing presentation, but I guess not as much as.
So I'm gonna tell you this. We have a client. His name is Jay. With Jay, he doesn't have the followers, but because of how much we spend, about $300+ on advertising every single month. On average, every single month, we reach about 250,000 plus people. We've aggregated all of this information, and we say in 2022, our accounts reached over 4 million people locally, and we show the demographics, which is Washington D.C., Arlington, Alexandria, Great Falls for him. So then when he takes that on his listing presentation, it's like when I do a listing video, when I advertise your video, when we showcase your property on the MLS and everything else, we're getting a ton of eyeballs on your property. And that's again leveraging the numbers that you have for the conversations that you're having in real life. Because your buyers, your sellers, they don't really care about how much clout you have on social, but you make them care about how much those numbers can do for their situation. Does that make sense?
Got it. Yeah.
Man, that's the information you dropping is crazy because I'm sitting here thinking like I am such a dinosaur with social media. I mean, I do it. What you see me doing, if you ever looked at my page, like what you see me doing is to the maximum of my comfort level at this stage. But I know, I'm looking. We're talking about first time buyers, repeat buyers. So, your boomers who are buying down, like they're selling a home and then they're taking a ton of equity to make a down payment and have a small balance, on a loan with one level living. I'm not getting them from Facebook and Instagram and social media, right? Like they're not coming to me through that portal.
That channel.
But my first time buyers, my millennials, my Gen whatever's after that. You see,
Gen Zers?
yeah. So they're stuck on the search engine of TikTok and Instagram, and I have to do something to be able to get their attention. But you said you got a 1.7. Was
1.7 seconds.
1.7 seconds. So that's a blink and a half, whatever, worth of time for me to say something, do something that gets them like, oh, what else is this dude talking about?
So if I'm a lender, I'm sitting there. So if I'm a lender, I'm talking to realtors primarily. And if I want to reach the borrowers of things, my take, if I were in your shoes, I would just be like, we're sitting in Silver Spring, Maryland. This is if you make $60,000 a year and you want to buy a $500,000 property, this is how much you need down. This is what your mortgage or your mortgage is going to look like. And if you want more information, there you go. But like you get to the numbers right away. Because people care about that, right? Like, why do renters rent? Because it's cheap rent, right? But when you make the mortgage number look appealing, or like what the mortgage is going to be on a monthly basis, instead of talking rates or any of that stuff, dude, that's confusing, right? But if you say you want a $500,000 home and you make $60,000, here's what you need, boom,
Make it simple.
Yeah,
Tiffany, you were right.
Yeah.
you make
Tiffany
it
was
simple
right.
for them. It's digestible, and then again, like in your case, it's like, how can I connect that to the audience in like 1.7 seconds? If you make X, right, immediately they know like, oh, all right, he's talking to me. Otherwise, it's like, oh, I don't make $300,000 a year. Scroll, and that's okay.
And I think that's a good point because most people don't fully understand. I mean, we do our best here at the Real Estate Wire to break it down, but you're exactly right, Michael. Which is like, how is this important to me? What does this have to do with my particular situation? I was watching a video. I was at a training seminar, and they go, most people are going to look at your content, and then, they got the rest of their data they got to think about. They got kids, yelling and screaming, and then they got to go to work, and they got to pay the bills, and they got to cook dinner, and so get to the point.
Get to the point. Don't waste your time. Just be as quick as possible. So it's like that's what they call the hook, right? Give them the hook, which as quick as you can get it. Like, if you make X and want this house, here's what you need. And at the end, you can add a little disclaimer, whatever you want to do. But then it's like, all right, to the point, I can save that. And the whole goal of it is not to get a borrower that day or a buyer or a seller that day, but it's to get their attention.
Yeah.
Right? Because I genuinely, like, honestly, like, money does follow attention. So, like, the more you can now, like, resonate with them and, like, going back to the theme of things, like, the more that they can get accustomed and grow accustomed to your theme, then it's just like, oh, okay, I know what to expect from Coach. I know what to expect from Dan. Like, that's what you want them to get to. Like, I can't create anything that's not marketing for me right now, which sucks because I'm a foodie, so I have to start a food account, right? But, like, I'm okay with it because marketing is what pays the bills for me. Yeah. So it's like, if I talk anything else outside of this, like, people just like, I've seen my engagement. This one day I try to do like a motivational quote, 200 views, bro. The next day I do like 10 real estate video ideas, part 3. And it's like, 35 saves, like 15 shares, and like 16,000 views. I'm like, okay, like
Yeah.
sticking your
And, you know, and I find it funny that because I've begun to like YouTube all over again. I think yes, watching our videos, also watching videos with my daughter, but 'cause we watch all types of like the different animal videos and Coyote Peterson. If you don't know who that is, he's dope. But anyway, I remember YouTube like a long time ago was like right. It was the best thing going. But then Instagram came out and Facebook I think was already there. But Instagram came out and you have Twitter comes out and all these, and the attention gets away from YouTube. But you can still I think monetize back then. But then now we're in the TikTok thing and in the dopamine with swiping is real quick. But it's still kind of going back to like the vlogs and like the actual. You hit here and you funnel you it has to funnel back to YouTube to give them. All right, let's go a little bit deeper.
Because I think YouTube has the ability for that evergreen content.
100%. But
what's evergreen content?
It's content that you can that lasts forever. Like you can always.
The beauty of what you just said, and that's the key right there that most people don't understand, is you create short form pieces of content for people to want to digest long form.
Got it.
Why do you guys do shorts off of your podcast? Why? Because if someone's interested in what they just heard, it'll drive them to watch the long form video.
Yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm. That's also why a lot of things go misconstrued in the internet, because it's like you can clip the most controversial parts and then it goes to wayside. So it's like, but the whole concept is create enough short form content to drive the long form concept.
And that gets to our next point. The real estate hot
or not. Go and ask him.
What do you think about that? That's tight, right?
Real estate hot or not?
How we like coordinate it, we like say
I like it.
You like it? Yeah.
I like it. There's synergy there. I just like that you guys are having fun. That's the whole thing of it. Too many people are like,
dude, I mean, we definitely not stiff paws because, we like to just let it fly. You feel me?
Yeah.
So this is going to be a real estate hotline, but we're going to switch it up. We're going to do a would you rather. So you just got to say it at the top of your head, no thinking.
Yeah, rapid fire.
Rapid fire. You ready? I'm going to go to you, Michael, then I'm going to go to you, Marcus. All right, here we go. Would you rather, this goes actually to the topic we were talking about earlier. Would you rather the aliens that make first contact be robotic or organic? Would you rather the aliens that make first contact be robotic or organic?
Robotic.
Organic.
I'll go with organic.
That's the first.
I'll go with organic. I feel like robotic, like that's kind of scary.
Yeah,
like I can't. These motherfuckers, you know what I'm saying?
You get to break them down, But what if they you take them down and they regenerate?
That's my point. Like if they built robots, they're probably like way smarter. But
can I plug that into my map? Yeah.
Like what type of like physiology do they have that they're organic, that they can? I mean, who knows? How do they even know that they can breathe O2 and nitrogen and all the other stuff that we got mixed in our atmosphere? Like that'd be pretty smart. Yeah, I don't want to see that. Would you rather lose the ability to read or lose the ability to speak?
Lose the ability to read.
Read, yeah.
Yeah, I'd rather lose the ability to read.
There's audiobooks.
Audiobook, yeah, exactly. But I can't not speak. That's my moneymaker right there.
Exactly.
Yeah,
sure. If you hadn't noticed, I like to talk
loud.
Would you rather have a golden voice? I don't like that one.
Read that.
Okay. Would you rather have a golden voice or a silver tongue?
Dang, I don't really know what a silver tongue is. But.
Silver tongue is like when you like the gift of gab.
Silver tongue.
Yeah, silver tongue.
Yeah, I'd rather be able to sing. I'll take it.
You want the golden voice?
Yeah, if I could sing.
I already can sing, so
you wouldn't even see. You can't sing.
Wait.
I don't have the looks to sing.
Sing something right now, Marcus. You don't have the looks to sing.
I'm not gonna sing right now.
Sing something.
You're not gonna have me on
sing
here.
Amazing Grace. Come on, let's go.
Really?
I'm gonna sing it with you. Ready?
No.
Here we go.
No, we're not. What's the next album?
Amazing Grace, how sweet.
See, that's why you're a drummer.
The sound that saved a wretch.
You know you're editing this out.
I'm leaving.
What's the next one?
Would you rather always be 10 minutes late or 20 minutes early?
20 minutes early.
20 minutes early.
Would you rather Would you rather be in jail for 1 year or lose 1 year of your life?
Live 1 year in jail perspective.
Come on, coach.
I can't do jail.
Why? You scared?
Yeah, for sure.
Come here, sugar lips.
You know what I'm saying? We can do this the easy way, or we can do this the hard way.
Yeah.
I'll take the jail. I ain't scared. I want to live though. I ain't scared. No, actually, I'll lose 1 year of my life. That's fine. I mean,
Yeah, I can't do jail.
yeah, jail.
I've been in handcuffs a couple times. I've
been arrested a couple times. We can talk about that on the B roll.
That's B.
There you
Yeah.
go.
On the B. What's the B side?
Burner.
We can talk the burner episode.
Subscribe for more.
So let's get to the comment section, then we're gonna get you out of here, Michael. One comment that I got on my YouTube page was, it's more of a comment. This gentleman, it comes from People Planet. People Planet. Okay. It says, this was a video that I did about mortgage rates. He goes, bruh, mortgage rates haven't been 6% since 2009 if you look at the numbers. And to that, I say, that's about right. But that's not super indicative of any particular unusual, circumstances in the mortgage and the real estate market, because, as we know, real estate interest rates are a roller coaster. They're going to go up. They're going to go down. But if you really look at it in perspective, back in 1986, mortgage rates were like 16 and 17%.
You spoke generally, and he took it personally.
I would say what he was just saying. Hey, rates haven't been 6% since 2009.
Yeah.
So what?
I think he's using that and to say, oh, back to 2008 type real estate market again because the interest rates are high. Therefore, I think he thinks that that's automatically indicative of a market.
So he's just trying to correct you.
I think he's just trolling me.
Oh,
which I love the trolls, and I appreciate the feedback. I wonder
if he's a homeowner trolling or he's renting trolling.
I mean, either way, I think that there's an opportunity for some education there. Which, I mean, he's right, and there's also other criteria that are different. One, the inventory levels that we have now are unlike they were in 2008. We don't have enough inventory for prices to really take a deep hit. I mean, most of the people who own homes now either got locked in at 3% or 2.5%. They got so much equity in their house that they don't have to leave. And if they do leave, they don't have to sell at a deep discount. They'll just do what they're doing now, which is they'll stay on the market for 45 days, 35, 45 days, and be fine. We haven't seen the conditions for a fire sale as of yet.
Well, you better than me. Because that comment, shout out to my old boss. I deleted that joint. I wouldn't even respond. Bro, the rates have been 6% since 2009. And?
Well,
get him out of here.
Well, you want to respond. You don't want to delete the comment. You want to respond to the comment because it goes to prove both of your guys' expertise. It's good for the video. It's a great clip with a little comment on top. So yeah,
I'm one of those. Still go off what my mom, and my grandma said. If you ain't got nothing nice to say, don't say nothing at all.
I think that anybody.
So sometimes when you know,
the social media world is different. I'm like, hey, I appreciate all the even if it's a troll comment, because that is still a question that he needs to be answered. And again, I think it was a good way for us to provide.
He didn't ask no question.
Well, it was. No,
he was telling you to check the facts.
He asked a question in the form of a statement, which is his question is, what's the difference between now and 2008, essentially. But he put it in a form of a question, but it's still a question nonetheless, which is, well, what's the difference? Well, let me explain to you what the big difference is, because we're professionals. And
I love you, Dan, because you saw the glass half full. I was glass half empty. I'd be like, nah,
I'm not a killer like you, dog. You be going, you go hard.
Every now and then it'll come out, but
yeah,
that might be because I hang around you.
So let's wrap it up here. I want to ask you one final question, Mike.
I got a question for him too.
Oh, okay. Well, here's my question. My question is, where do you see the real estate market and the role of real estate agents in the next 20 years?
Ooh, 20 years, I think the industry in and of itself enters blockchain. We've already seen it take place and happen. I think real estate agents, there's about 1.6 on average that are licensed. I think that number is going to decrease massively. Yes, there's 1.6 million. that have a license. Now, 5% of them make the money, right?
Right.
But I think in the next 20 years, that number is going to be substantially lower. And everything is going to be blockchain based. So I do think in the next 20 years, things like title companies are going to be probably out of the picture because smart contracts can do the job. I do think that from a lending perspective, in the next 20 years, a lot of these banks are going to be like you might have like your own coin in your own bank. So that's where things might be from a mortgage perspective. But I do not think that the human touch goes entirely away. There's a possibility because I'm having conversations and we're developing some software in that regard that might make real estate very easy to be peer to peer. So I might say off of my phone or whatever we have in 20 years, say, hey Dan, I want to buy your house right now. You want to do it? And you're like, okay, sure, why not? And it's like swipe, and then we make that exchange. And we might need kind of a referee in the middle to say, all right, here's how it'll work.
Dude, I was thinking about that a while ago about creating. You know me, man. I be thinking, Marcus. I was thinking about creating a and Tom, if you want to steal this, you can. Basically, and I think they tried. Here's the tough thing. They tried this in a few different. I know Redfin tried it for a little while. With basically, kind of like a
the iBuyer thing.
iBuyer's bankrupt now. They went bankrupt because their model just didn't work, right? And they spent too much money. And I think they started. Did they try to get into the property management space for a minute? I'm not sure. Right? Yeah.
A little bit. They're trying to offload all their debt right now.
So I think here was my idea. My idea was like, for example, a real estate agent like myself. Right now I work with, I can work with, my bandwidth is maybe 10 clients, right, at a time, 15 clients. And then I'm talking about, listings, maybe 10 or 15 listings at a time, and then maybe working with about 10 buyers at a time, right? So 20, right? Listings don't take as much work as buyers do. And I think that in the future, the real estate agent's bandwidth is going to have to increase. But the amount of work that we're going to do is going to decrease. Ephemeralization, right? The classic.
100%.
And, right, Buckminster Fuller. So I think that, let's say, for example, I'll have maybe 100 clients. But I won't have to do anything. I'll just basically be doing like ministerial acts or reviewing the contract, submitting offers, or looking at my app, clicking a couple buttons, click, because they need a licensed person, kind of like LegalZoom or somewhere there actually is a person looking at it or creating the app or the software, and then just kind of hitting okay, right? That's kind of where
essentially that's where
your
it is.
Pocket then.
I think
that's going to dig into your pocket then.
Well, I think the person who
money
can take advantage of it and say, well, I'm going to aggregate all of these 100 clients to this like Uber style real estate app is going to be the one that's going to be able to take advantage of it.
Someone who creates that atmosphere, so to speak.
Yeah, one that's effective though.
That's like 20 years from now. But if you like work yourself to the 20 years, in the next 5 years alone, I think teams are going to be a big thing. And primarily there's going to be a thing where you see the agents try or start to build a team in a way where they're presented as the brokerage. Because right now the model is broken, and that's the reason why you have like EXP and Side and Real like begin to like take off, because they're the ones who are realizing, well, let's put the power in the agent's hands, have them build something that looks like them, feels like them, and it's about them. So there's that other side opportunity of like, if you build your real estate business as such, as a business, and you don't treat yourself as a contractor, you'll be able to keep up with the times. All right. If you don't, then bye.
You ain't working at Walmart.
Yeah, exactly.
And smiley face stickers.
Yeah, there you go. Check that receipt.
When did Walmart start doing it like Costco? Because I'm like,
they've been doing it.
They've been doing it.
Man, I walk past that dude every time. I'm like, I'm not stealing nothing, and you don't need to check my receipt.
That's because you're big. They're not messing with you. They're like, I don't want to mess with that big black dude. You
man, whatever.
You look good enough. They check me all the time.
I just walk.
Come here, little dude.
Go for it.
Yeah.
Like, come on, man.
You can't see what I'm stealing anyway.
You want to check me for this Trident gum? That's what you gonna do?
Well, everybody, thank you so much for tuning in to the Real Estate Wire podcast. I am Dan Wheeler.
Dan Wheeler.
You're Dan Wheeler.
I'm Dan Wheeler. I swear I am. You can find me on all platforms, danwheelersellshomes.com. Where can they find you, Coach Marcus?
At Mortgage Coach Marcus on all social media platforms.
And what about you, Michael? Where can they find you?
At Top Shot DC on all social platforms.
For all of us here at the Real Estate Wire Squad, make sure you like, subscribe, and hit the notifications button so that you're the first person to know when we drop new content. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Here at the Real Estate Wire Squad, we are out.
That was cool. Thanks, guys.
Couple stops and starts.
I was gonna ask you, but I'm glad we